Welcome to Why We're Fans. I'm Duran, and as always, I'm joined by my co-host, Gennaro.
In all of our episodes, we cover the past, present, and the future of all your favorite NFL football teams.
We love hearing your stories, talking the NFL draft, and reminiscing about the good old days.
If you like the same, be sure to subscribe to this channel and like this episode. And leave a comment below if you want to answer any of our questions.
Follow us on Twitter to stay up to date on our latest interviews. And like we always say, win or lose, we're all fans. Enjoy this episode. Welcome to Why We're Fans. Today we have Kelly from the Eagles Brawl podcast and the Kelly Green Show. You can find all of her links below. We got a little creative with this episode because the intro got cut off, but Kelly ended up being one of our favorite episodes. Just to summarize a little bit, she's drinking on Nugget Nectar. She became an Eagles fan growing up in Philly, and I think she can handle the rest from here. Enjoy the show. Awesome. How many generations of Eagles fans do you have?
To be honest, I think my dad and my mom's not really a fan, but like my dad's probably the one that started it. Like, I don't know, my grandfather, his dad died when I was younger, like really young. So I don't know what he was like. I don't think he watched football too often. He was a football player at the University of Penn, but like they literally had a football team. So like, I don't know how actively involved he was with watching sports or how involved he was with my father watching sports. But my dad's been a huge sports fan for his whole life. So I think it started with him.
You got any little ones in the family that it's going to get passed down to?
I have two nieces. They're twins. And they're two little girls. They're the cutest thing ever. When I was little, my parents never bought us jerseys or any like swag or any kind of stuff. Like we didn't go to games. We didn't buy tickets to go to games. We just like watched it at home. So I like made it my point to like buy them jerseys for the different Philadelphia teams and make sure that they had some like photos of them wearing their stuff. Cause like there's proof that we watched it when we were kids when take photos of that kind of stuff. So, you know, they're the two that will pass along the fandom to the next generation of my family.
Awesome. You got to keep it going.
Who's the biggest fan?
Who?
Yeah, who's out of all your family? Who's the biggest fan? Did you take over that spot?
It's definitely me.
Nice.
Yeah, there's no competition. I think I'll talk to my brothers about stuff and they'll be like, yeah, you know, like way more than I do. Sorry.
I think that's the same for us too in our families. I know you grew up in the area. This is one question that I think we've only had one person answer yes. Have you seen any Eagles players in public growing up in the area?
Trying to think if I ever ran into them. I feel like I would know, but like not like outside of a Philadelphia sporting event. Like I've seen them at different events, but like never just like walking the streets.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
We had a Chargers fan on that worked out at the same gym as Austin Eckler.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So I know you said you didn't go to many games growing up, but do you remember the first game that you've ever been to live?
Ooh, that's a good one. First game I ever went to, it was definitely at the Vet. I don't remember what game it was. I was way too young to recall what game it was because I was really little at that time, but a few stadiums ago. I guess it was one stadium ago, but it was like a really intense experience to like be at the Vet. I don't know if you guys have ever heard stories about the Vet Stadium in Philadelphia. So like it wasn't a good idea to bring children there, I think. But I think I went to one game with my dad when we were little, and then like it never happened again after. We were like, this is like, not a good idea. So until like I graduated college, I don't think I went to another game in person.
There you go. What about any training camps or anything like that? Do they have?
I've been to a couple of training camps.
Awesome.
Went to the one in 2018 after the Super Bowl year.
Uh-huh.
Exciting because we had the Lombardi Trophy there and everything.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
That was really fun. But the training camps were in Lehigh when I was really little, and is a little bit of a drive from where my parents and my family lived. So we would go up there like for like a special occasion. Like it wasn't every year. Like a lot of families have like a tradition. Like they would go to Lehigh every single year. Every single year. I think we went one time, and it was like such a cool experience, and it probably like sparked my interest in like the behind the scenes of like what creates the team that goes onto the field to like actually play the game.
Yeah, that's one of my goals, is to go to a training camp. I hear that you can get a lot closer to the game and the players and stuff like that. So
yeah, it's really, really a fantastic experience. I think the Cowboys do it in LA. I don't know where you guys are based, but
Oxnard,
and you're in
we're in Northern California. That's in Southern California where they have the
so you'd
Cowboys
have to drive
training
a little
camp.
bit. Okay.
Yeah,
I hear they want to start doing it in Dallas at their new facility, the Star. So I wouldn't mind flying out there and checking that out either.
Definitely for us football nerds and everything. I think training camp is like honestly even better because you get to see all these.
Draft and training camp is like central, like football fandom squad. Like
you like know about all these undrafted
level of fandom.
Yep.
Crazy.
So on game day, is there any one person that you like to sit down and watch the games with? Are you someone that likes to watch them alone and take notes?
I don't take notes. I think I'm too stressed out during the game to take notes. But it's really changed over the years. I would watch during college with like friends. Nobody ever was as invested as I was in the Eagles. So they were like, yeah, they kind of suck. So I was like, all right, I guess I'll watch by myself. Over the years, like the Super Bowl year, I had like a certain level of like a core group of people that would go to the same bar and watch together. And then, growing up, it was my family, honestly.
Yeah.
Do you have like a game day ritual that you do? I mean, we had somebody like, he's like, I have to put my phone on the mantle face down, and then I'll have to watch the game. Like I have a game day like outfit, and I have to drink the same beer. No.
I've definitely done that. I've definitely like felt like, oh, this jersey, we won while I wore this jersey, so I can't like wash it. Like I have to wear this jersey. Like the Super Bowl year, I wore the Carson Wentz jersey. I just bought that off season every single game.
Are you still wearing it?
No. And it's not because I don't support him. I do.
Yeah.
But over the course of time, it was like clearly this jersey is not lucky anymore.
Yeah.
So So there's different things that I'll do. Like if something's happening during a game that's like going our way, then I will continue to do that thing until like whatever I was doing at the time that it was going right, I will just like continue to do that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it would, like what an example, like a good example would be, but like if I was standing up and they scored, I'm not allowed to sit down anymore. Like got to stand up the rest of the game, commitment for the team. I don't know if that makes sense at all, but it's, superstition.
It makes sense to fans. That's what it is. It's so hard to buy jerseys nowadays, especially, I mean, come on, how many Tom Brady Patriots jerseys were out there? And look, even Tom Brady moves on. It's just a different game than it was years ago when one guy would get drafted to one team and be there forever. So that's always the risk in buying them. Sometimes you just got to stick with those old school guys.
Most of my jerseys are guys that aren't on the team anymore. So I'm like, okay.
Yep.
Well, I'm just not going to buy jerseys anymore is what I've decided. Because it's just poorly for me.
You just
I don't remember the last one I bought. I'll tell you.
You got to buy like those jerseys, like the
like non-committal, but like you like them, you want them to know you like them, but like not that much.
Exactly.
You don't know.
Like, you're tradable.
Exactly.
Anybody's apparently tradable on our team, so
up for grabs. Fire sale this year.
Guess so.
We'll see.
guess
I was looking back just on the Eagles just have such a great fan base. I think I love passionate fans.
It's amazing that you're saying that as a Cowboys fan. I am truly shocked.
Well, I mean, there's always the people that make them look bad. I think there's tons of Cowboys fans that are horrible, but there's tons of them out there that are great. I just like passionate fans, and Philly's one of the most passionate fans, and you could tell by I went on Reddit just to look at their number one upvoted stories of all time. Number one was a kid put on there. His dad died, but he got to wear his dad's hat to the Super Bowl. Number one upvoted story. Number two, guy said his brother died, but he is carrying his brother's ashes in a necklace at the
I've heard
parade.
so many stories about this.
Yeah, at the parade. And it's just stuff like that. Those
one guy
are the
brought
great
his
fans.
wife's urn to the parade.
Yep. Those are the great fans.
She had to be here.
And stories that we want to hear and that we love. So, I mean, I gotta give Philly fans credit. I mean, even before the Super Bowl, they were known as, one of the most diehard fan bases out there, and they didn't even have a Super Bowl yet. So
yeah, we're very loud.
Yeah, diehard for sure, and very brutal. I mean, you guys snowballed Santa, for Christ's sake.
I know. Well, I mean, that was before my time.
Yeah.
So I won't own that one.
Yeah.
That was before the link. That was before the Veteran Stadium too, I think.
Okay.
Yeah, that was in like the 70s or like late 60s.
I think that was 69, to be honest.
Oh.
I Googled it a couple of times. Like, when the hell did that even happen?
Yeah. They got to pull up footage.
I was born, so.
But
December
I do remember
15th,
the booing. It was the 76ers booing Beyonce for wearing the wrong jersey.
We boo everyone.
Yeah.
Okay?
You guys are known for booing draft picks.
Yeah, you guys are the boo birds.
Yeah, booing draft picks.
You're gonna know if we don't like you. That's
Definitely. G, you got anything else on how it all started for her?
I don't, man.
You got it. Let's move on a little bit. So we want to take a guess on who your favorite player is, favorite Eagle is. And man, I was looking back on guys just this morning, and you have a lot of guys to choose from. And G, do you want to go first? Because I have a list of like 8 guys here that I could choose from.
I definitely have a list as well. I can go old reliable receiver and Freddie Mitchell, or I can also go with somebody like, that's very, very reliable in my opinion was, T.O. when he was on the squad, or Donovan McNabb, who you guys
you can only pick one.
Good years.
But you know what? I'm definitely going to go with who I modeled my game after, because I played running back, was Brian Westbrook. He was definitely one of my favorite players.
Good guess.
I loved when he joined the Niners, but it was so weird for me to see him in the Niners uniform.
It was very weird for me.
Yeah.
I was like, what are you doing, man?
I didn't know you could switch teams until Brian Westbrook was like, I was like, what the hell?
Yeah, that's one of those weird ones.
Yeah, I'm
gonna go with one of my favorite Eagles. It's Brian Dawkins. Do you have an answer for us?
Brian Dawkins is the answer.
Yeah. Brian Dawkins. I mean, he's
Just
a
the
Hall
passion.
of Famer. 9-time Pro Bowler, was on the Eagles for 13 years. This guy,
he's a
he
baller,
did it
like
all.
completely compatible with the emotional passion of the fan base. Like just like firing on all cylinders, like totally matched what he was doing on the field, and just brought energy to every game. You were just like fired up to watch him play, hitting guys, like flying into guys, like literally, like there's all these highlights of him just like launching his body into people like a missile. He's a special person in my heart, and I enjoyed all of his years in Philly.
Yeah, I watched a lot of his highlights today, and a lot of times I say, do you think this guy could even play today the way he played? But Brian Dawkins,
he would get flagged every single down.
Brian Dawkins, he could also play the pass though, which I think would transfer over. He wasn't just one of those guys, a Cowboy Roy Williams, who was just a downhill, gonna knock your head off type of guy.
True.
He was a guy that could lay the hit, but he's also number 1 all times in interceptions for the Eagles, pass deflections, and forced fumbles. So that just shows you I think he could have adapted, and he couldn't play his same style that he did back then, but man, he was productive on the back end, and that's one of the things that I value the most is getting turnovers. So Brian Dawkins, credit to him, man.
Yeah, and he finally made it into the Hall of Fame.
Yep.
After the Super Bowl season, it was like the perfect ending to a perfect season.
Yep.
He got into Canton, and we were just going crazy. We're so happy for him.
Yeah, I think him and Ray Lewis had the best entrances when they announced them in the introductions. That was so crazy. I mean,
so good.
I still remember it without even looking. Like he had that sweatband on his chin strap, the dark visor, man. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, he was really intense.
Yeah.
And he went to the Broncos, and that broke my heart after
I bet.
everything that happened in his career. I was like, he can't leave. Like, what? No.
Yeah, he went to the Broncos, and he made 2 Pro Bowls with the Broncos, which looking back on it, I was kind of surprised. Not that Brian Dawkins made a Pro Bowl, but I don't remember him as much as a Bronco as a Philadelphia Eagle, probably because my team played him twice a year. But yeah, just looking back, I was surprised to see that. But
it's a shame we didn't keep him, and
all the way to the end, he was a great player. Now I always ask this: if Brian Dawkins was Batman, can you think of his Robin, who a guy on that defense or even the offense that was a great compliment to him? That we all know football is a team sport and you can't do it all by yourself. Is there someone that just complimented him really well on that defense that you could think of? I have one guy in mind.
I would have to say Sheldon Brown.
Okay.
Just from the back end of the defense, like the tandem of them being on the field together was pretty spectacular. I'm trying to think of like another person that might be a good answer.
The guy that I have who was killing it at middle linebacker, Jeremiah Trotter.
Oh my God, Axeman, yeah.
So both of them, I mean, he was probably the quarterback of the defense, just playing that middle linebacker position. But Brian Dawkins playing the back end, him playing middle linebacker, those are 2 guys you just, you'd love to have on your team.
Absolutely. That's a great one. I should have thought of him before Sheldon Brown, but
I put you on the spot. That's why I always say
I stand by my answer. I support my answer. So
yeah. No, Sheldon Brown, definitely. He was playing right cornerback for the Philadelphia Eagles for about 8 years, and that was right there when Brian Dawkins was there. So that's a great answer. And I miss
having cornerbacks, so I probably the pain.
I'm right there with you. Actually, I think all of our teams are looking for cornerbacks at this point. We'll get into the draft in a little bit. We'll get into the draft in a little bit. G, you got some more on Brian Dawkins? I got a couple other things.
Nah, I just remember him coming out in round 2 and how big that was because Clemson wasn't really putting out any defenders like him, and the fact that they picked him up from the ACC was so awesome to see. So I mean, I remember winning a trivia question on that too because everyone thought he was like a first rounder. I was like, no, he's a second rounder. So
very outperformed his second round pick for sure. The thing that I remember about Brian Dawkins the most, that hit on Reggie Bush where they throw the
and
little,
we lost that game.
Yeah, and that's still a memory that I don't think will ever go away. If you look at anything that's like top 10 hits of all time, Reggie Bush getting just smacked in the flats by Brian Dawkins, and that play's never going to go away.
Who was the Falcons player? I'm totally blanking on him.
Michael Vick?
The NFC Championship game when he Brian Dawkins absolutely destroyed him on a hit. It was a tight end for the Falcons.
Oh, Crumpler. Algie Crumpler.
Okay, so there's like a GIF of that, and it just like every time I see it, I'm just like, holy crap! Like he just destroyed a human. Like the kind of thing where like right now in Twitter world, like people would be like, he has a family. Like that is what you would say if you saw him hitting in today's NFL. Like, oh my God, Brian, he's got a family. Like support him.
Yep.
Don't
type in Algie Crumpler and Brian Dawkins right now, and you'll see it's going to be the first thing that pops up. But he also
Absolutely
has
incredible.
He also has a hit on Michael Vick that's right at the goal line. And Michael Vick, to this day, he says that's the hardest he's ever been hit. And both of them got hurt on that play, Michael Vick and Brian Dawkins. But it just shows you the type of player he was.
All on the field every single game, every play.
Exactly. He was super consistent back there at the safety position. And it was super awesome to see, especially how he played. Like, that physicality was so awesome. And you guys were right. Like, he was the quarterback of that defense. You know, he was motivating. He was leading by example, you know, getting out there. It was just, I don't know, beautiful violence the way he hit, man. I mean, I remember that hit for sure, because Algie Crumpler tried to get up acting like it was nothing, but he went down went 5 steps later. No. Like, my head's rocking.
Yeah. For how violent he played, I don't ever remember him being hurt either. I mean, I'm sure he's popped up on injury reports or missed a game here or there, but Brian Dawkins was there every week ready to play. One question that I do like to ask is, can you think of any underrated players in Eagles history? I have 2 of them just here right now, and one of them's Deuce Staley, just because of all the things that he was a 7-year Eagle, 3,000-yard seasons, number 5 all time in rushing yardage for you guys, and ended up being a coach and sticking around the team. And we know he's now at the Lions, but I mean, Deuce Staley, he was wrecking shop when he was there.
Special. I think that we were spoiled with really, really great running backs for such a long time that we didn't fully understand that we had to appreciate them until they were gone. Like, you go from Deuce Staley to Brian Westbrook to Shady McCoy, and you don't have them for a while. You're like, running back is really important to a team.
Yep.
Okay, got it. So definitely him.
Yep.
I don't know who your second one is, but my answer would be Chad Lewis.
Chad Lewis.
Yes.
I can't think of Chad Lewis.
Super underrated because he was an undrafted free agent coming out, and he basically was one of Donovan McNabb's like most reliable targets during the special run that we had for the early 2000s. He was a tight end for the team before Brent Selleck came in, and
he always wore that neck roll.
3 consecutive. Yeah, he was insane. But like, he had 3 consecutive Pro Bowls from 2001 to 2003.
Yeah.
And the year that we went to the Super Bowl, he scored 2 touchdowns in the game against the Falcons, because he went to the NFC Championship from 2001 to 2004. Like, we were in it and we never won. And then the 2004 season, when we played the Falcons, we finally beat them. He scored 2 touchdowns, but he got an injury on his foot that kicked him out of being able to play in the Super Bowl that year against the Patriots. And like, if we had him, I think it would have been a different story, hypothetically speaking. But he was such an important player to our offense, and a lot of people don't really remember him, but he's my pick for that answer.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm looking at it right now. I see the 2 touchdowns. That was versus the Falcons. Philly ended up winning 27-10, and 12 of those points were Chad Lewis's. I don't remember him. That's a great answer. I like that one. I like when
he was my first jersey. So
there you go.
He has a special place in my heart, because people were like, "Oh, why do you have a Chad Lewis jersey?" And I was like, "Killing it! Like, what are you talking about? Why do I have a Chad Lewis jersey?"
No, that's one of those nostalgia things now where they should respect it and be like, when they see you wearing it, okay, if she's wearing a Chad Lewis jersey, she knows what she's talking about.
Oh yeah.
Are you wearing a Miles Brown jersey right now? Or Miles Sanders?
This is a Miles Sanders jersey.
Yeah, Miles Brown. Miles Sanders.
I like my running backs.
We are Penn State.
Yes.
Yep.
He's the closest thing we've had to a solid running back since McCoy got traded for some linebacker.
Yeah, I was thinking of Miles Sanders, and I was also thinking about Journey Brown, and I mixed them together.
It's okay.
That happens.
I love Penn State for sure. I mean, I love the wrestling program, so that's why I'm always supportive of all the Penn State players.
There you go. Anything else, G, for favorite player?
Not favorite player, but I have been asking this recently. Do you have somebody that was on your team that you hated, that you did not like?
I mean, like, because they sucked at playing football, or like they just were terrible people. I feel like I could have a different answer for whatever.
I mean, either or. I mean, for instance, like
I know one.
Yeah.
I was not a fan of DeMarco Murray.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
Love that. Okay.
Yeah.
I felt a certain way about the decisions Chip Kelly made. So like,
Yeah.
I liked the idea of bringing him in because he had just come off like a major, like crazy
Mhm.
with the Cowboys, and
Yeah.
the Cowboys can't have him anymore.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, he's literally been run into the ground by that organization. He's not going to have anything left to like give us. And
Yeah.
true. And we also used him in a terrible way.
Exactly.
Just a terrible use of a good running back. So, I also really don't like the person Chip Kelly. So that's come up a couple of times. Not a fan.
There was one more name that when G said that, it just popped into my mind. Riley Cooper.
Riley Cooper is such a dick.
Yeah. So
why did he stay around? Like
yeah.
Everybody always talks about like him being such an asshole, and I'm like, why did we keep him? He literally was like the fourth wide receiver on the chart. Like what? Like you would do that for like if you had Antonio Brown on your roster, but like Riley Cooper is not that good. Why is he here?
Yep.
Because he tore it up against the Raiders that game, maybe.
That was the Chip Kelly days.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chip Kelly made some decisions that I was just like not bored with. So I'm always happy when he had a short stint in Philly and then to you guys in San Fran. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Well, let's move on. Let's start talking about some coaches. Do you have a favorite Philly coach of all time?
Andy Reid.
Of course. That's what I have written down.
Yeah, definitely.
It has to be Andy Reid. Anybody who says anybody else is probably lying, because if you said Doug Peterson because he won the Super Bowl, he is only there because of Andy Reid. So literally everything goes back to Andy Reid.
Yeah, Andy Reid was there 14 years, 9 playoff appearances, and we all see what he's doing right now. He's running another great offense.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was triggering in that Super Bowl when he had such poor time management a couple times. I was like,
yeah.
You did in Philly, and you've been better than that. But I mean, I respect him. I think he's been incredible during his time in the city. And people would ask me like, oh, well, I'm a Chiefs fan. What do you think about Andy Reid? And I'm like, I absolutely love him. He never was able to get the big game. Like, he never won the big game.
Yeah.
So, like, it was time to move on eventually. And it was the right move for him. It was the right move for Philly. I think that I would have a terrible answer for you if we didn't win a Super Bowl and then he went to like back-to-back Super Bowls and potentially could have won 2.
Yeah.
You know, everything worked out for both him and the Eagles, so I have no ill feelings towards him at all.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I didn't think of that. It did work out for both sides, and it makes it a lot easier to say goodbye when you look into the future and both of you guys have Super Bowls and stuff like that. But
I was very happy for him to win.
I liked his coaching style a lot. Even at Philly, he had great offenses and players there. McNabb, Deuce Staley, Westbrook, James Thrash, brought in T.O. and Vic, LaShawn McCoy, Deshaun Jackson. I mean, you see the talent that he has today. And, man, those guys were there back then just producing a lot of offensive yards, that's for sure.
Yeah, I always remember him being like the fixer. Like someone has problems, like, you know, you're going to get picked up by Andy Reid and he's going to fix you and turn you into
Michael Vick.
Yeah, exactly. That was kind of like everyone would say that. Then when he picked up Michael Vick, everyone's like, man, he's running this into the ground. What is he doing? That's a stupid move. But like, he brought him in just to bring an extra dynamic to that offense. And it was awesome. It was a smart move. Like, We're not here for his
Yeah.
character. Like, I'm going to fix that for sure. But right now, we need his athleticism and his football skills. So I thought that was an awesome move by him. So.
And the first game that Michael Vick played in
I remember this.
Yeah.
Philadelphia, like he was playing. I think we played the Redskins back then. It was like his first ever game in Philadelphia. We're like, holy shit!
Yep.
Like, this is
I
gonna
remember
be
thinking
fun.
we are in trouble.
I
We are in trouble if he
feel
plays
like there
like
was
this.
so much backlash. Like you can't even possibly imagine like how many people were absolutely pissed
Mhm.
that he made that decision. And
Yeah.
it was like, wow, okay.
Yep.
I
I
don't know.
mean, looking back on it,
challenge
I
my
don't-
fandom. I'm like a bad fan if I'm like, maybe I think that if he went to prison, he should have the ability to rehabilitate his life
Yep.
outside of prison. But you know, you live and learn. I think that was a learning moment, a teachable moment as a fan. So
yeah, I don't think anyone thinks back on Andy Reid like he did the wrong thing there. I mean, look
Right.
at Michael Vick. Ever since then, he's been an outstanding citizen, and come on, that was the right move to make. He just had the balls to do it.
Yep.
Yep. Looking at Andy Reid's coaching tree, I looked at it today. It is
Stacked.
crazy.
Mhm.
These are just the guys he's hired throughout the years, and this is not counting Bieniemy or any of the recent guys.
Mhm.
Todd Bowles, Brad Childress, Leslie Frazier, John Harbaugh, Sean McDermott, Matt Nagy, Doug Peterson, Ron Rivera, Pat Shurmur, Steve Spagnuolo. All those guys have huge contributions to the NFL.
There were
Todd Bowles
so
just
many
won a Super
people
Bowl.
from Reid's tree that were in the playoffs this year as head coaches,
Yeah.
which was like, but like
Yep.
Belichick doesn't even have that kind of resume when it comes to
Yeah.
on a career to like the guys who are in his staff. Like
Mhm.
Patricia fell on his face.
Yep.
You know, there's so many examples of Reid really
Who's the offensive
giving
guy?
a chance to a guy and then them
Daniels.
leaving as a head coach
McDaniels.
somewhere else. But my issue is how long after they're with Reid are they successful? Like
Yeah.
Harbaugh won a Super Bowl,
Mhm.
you know, after leaving Reid. Peterson won a Super Bowl after leaving Reid. Nagy's like on the cusp of the playoffs every year, but
Mhm.
there's questions about him now. It's like
Yeah.
Yeah.
everything is like slowly when you're removed from him, it's almost like the magic starts to fade away.
Yeah.
Is what I can tell. Like it's just an interesting dynamic. Like, is being with him and like feeding off of his thought process like what gives people such an edge for like their start as a head coach? I don't know if it lasts very long.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, even Todd Bowles, yeah, of course, he just won the Super Bowl right now, but he wasn't highly sought after not succeeding that well as a head coach. But
I was hoping
himself.
I was hoping we would hire him as the head coach, but clearly offense was like the big move.
Mhm.
So I was like, it's kind of a bummer because I always liked him with the Jets. I just thought that they had a pretty terrible roster, and that's why he failed there.
Yeah,
Terrible GM too. Yeah.
But could you imagine if you hired Todd Bowles as your head coach after what he just did in the Super Bowl? Like how
He
much
deserves a second chance.
bringing into that building? Like that would have been an incredible jump off, like to, you know, his first, you know, his second, I guess, stint as a head coach.
Mm-hmm. I get it. Now, I know we hit on this subject a little bit in the last section, but Chip Kelly, of course, you hated him. He came over from Oregon.
Mhm.
What I didn't like about him the most, I don't know what it was with you, but just how the players he got rid of. And I always feel like that's a really bad move when you come in as a brand new head coach and you just start getting rid of these guys that are just not only fan favorites, but can still contribute. He said bye to Vic, Trent Cole, Jeremy Maclin, Evan Mathis. He traded away Shady McCoy, Kiko Alonso, Nick Foles, and the guys that he got, you already said, DeMarco Murray, who just wasn't the right fit, Sam Bradford, horrible pickup, Byron Maxwell. Those are the type of moves that kind of get you in that position for being the most hated coach. You agree?
Definitely. It was a really tough time to be a fan during his seasons because as a fan, you love some of these players that he's just completely discarding. Like getting rid of your all-time rusher in Shady McCoy for a linebacker who had just come off an ACL injury was just like mind-blowing to me.
Yeah.
I remember exactly where I was when Shady McCoy was traded from the Eagles. I was like, what? Like, I thought somebody was joking with me. Like, I was like, this is not happening.
Yeah.
But Deshaun Jackson was cut
the
year before. So it's like almost like I got completely wiped away, like any emotional attachment to players after that. I don't know who's going to be here, like Chip Kelly, because he didn't really want to have an emotional connection to anybody. He just kind of went with his own system. And the most annoying thing about it was I thought our defense was pretty good during his time, but that they were constantly on the field because he had such a smart offensive genius mind.
Yeah, he did have
wanted
that.
to rush the offense every single day. I was like,
it just didn't work in the NFL. I mean,
it was such a like, I don't even know what to call it. Like, it was such a like big jump for Jeffrey Lurie to make that decision. Like, he had always been a pretty like logical person as far as ownership, like coaching staff was concerned. But like going for a guy who was in college, like a college, like big shot, like it didn't really match what like we were expecting. Like, people were excited because it was unknown, but then like it just didn't work. And the best part about that was that he identified that quickly, so that he didn't run the organization further into the ground and was like, we're done. We're done with this experiment. It was terrible. Thank you, and please leave.
Yeah, I think the mistake there was giving him complete control over the roster.
Exactly.
I mean, he got too carried away with it. And
like if you looked at Chip Kelly wrong during his time here, like you got cut. Like, it was weird.
Yeah, I feel your pain on Chip Kelly. I mean, we had him for 1 year, and honestly,
drink a little bit more.
You need a couple of those for that. You'll need a couple. One thing that I just wanted to mention, I can't believe he got rid of Shady McCoy. I've always been a big fan of him. I went to a Cowboys versus Eagles game, Thanksgiving, of course, in Dallas. Shady McCoy killed us. 25 rushes for 159 yards, 2 touchdowns. The Cowboys ended up losing 33-10. And I remember,
he's a special guy.
He was the best player on the field that day. It was amazing. And the next year he was gone. He still had a lot of life left in him too.
And he went to Pitt and he was from Pennsylvania. So it was like he was a town guy who made it onto the Eagles. And it was like such a special thing to have him on our team. Like, he really was one of us. Like, he was an Eagles fan growing up. So it felt like, oh, this is really something that could be really cool. Like, he could be an Eagle forever, and that would be awesome. But we traded him to the Bills, and he had a couple years there, and then he went on to the Chiefs. He won a Super Bowl there. He wasn't active, but now he's back-to-back champion. He didn't play a single snap, but for him for finding the rosters to go to finally get his rings, because I would have been bummed if he never got a ring and we got one. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he didn't have a single touch this Super Bowl, but he did. I didn't know he might have had a snap. But
he was inactive against the when he was on the Chiefs. So like he was active this year, but he didn't play.
Yeah, and I never thought he was never happy at the Bills. The Bills at that time were not who they are today. And you can kind of tell he just wasn't happy. He even came out, him and Deshaun Jackson came out and had not nice things to say about Chip Kelly. And that was a bad stretch. But hey, it might have been what you guys needed to move on and eventually get that Super Bowl.
It definitely was.
Yeah.
Like I think I hate the Chip Kelly years, but it almost was like inevitably like the catalyst to change, and that was what sparked the 2017 season when we won the Super Bowl.
Yep.
So I won't regret it too much because it led to something better.
There you go. Gee, anything else for coaches?
No, I mean,
You don't want to talk about my new head coach?
We're going to get into that for future expectations. That'll be at the end.
Okay.
This was just favorite coach. We'll get into that. Trust me.
No, I mean,
I don't have a lot to say about him because I don't know much.
I don't know much about him, but I did look up a couple things. So
it was something.
We'll save that. We'll save that.
All right, moving on. Do you have an earliest Philadelphia's Eagle memory?
Ooh.
You remember being a kid thinking a couple things that I remember. I think the first set of players that I remember for Philly, Deuce Staley, McNabb, and the Thrash years. That is the first trio that I really remember being, legitimate guys that I actually paid attention to.
So that's a really good question because, I know I watched them when I was really young, and I can't recall a specific game.
Yeah.
The one game that I super vividly remember how I felt watching it was the 2001 game, NFC Championship game against the St. Louis Rams.
Okay.
Watching it at my grandmom's house because my parents had gone away for a vacation and I was the only one who had to go to my grandmom's house because she was to school every day. So I'm sitting there watching the NFC Championship game with her and she has no idea what's going on. But I've known that I loved the team and I really wanted them to win. I was so excited. And my dad had a Dodge Durango at the time and it had Ram on the front of it. And I absolutely hated it because we were playing the Rams. These are the things I was thinking during a Super Bowl run potentially.
Yeah.
So, then Aeneas Williams, who was almost unknown at the time.
Yeah. Hall of Famer now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Won the game with the interception at the very end. And destruction and sadness reigned over me. And I was traumatized. I was like, this is the worst feeling I've ever had in my life. Losing this game is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. Very
dramatic. That guy.
Child.
Yeah.
But those are the things that you remember most vividly is the trauma of the game that you love so much. So that's probably the most recent, that's the most, the earliest time in my fandom that I vividly remember because it was so traumatizing.
I love that you said the Ram on the hood of the car. Because that's the type of stuff you remember.
I'm not going in Dad's car anymore.
That's the type of stuff that you remember back then is the Ram on the front of the hood. Yeah. But what you just mentioned, that was the Donovan McNabb, Deuce Staley, James Thrash years. Those were the three guys there. But unfortunately, you guys ran into the greatest show on turf, Kurt Warner. Marshall Falk, Isaac Bruce, Torrey Holt, and crew.
We had no business being there. Let me just clear the air. We had no business being there. We barely made it to the NFC Championship game. And we definitely had no business winning or being close to winning, but we were on a drive to potentially win. Yeah. So in my mind, I was we got this. As a child, I was we've got this. And it doesn't work out your way sometimes.
Yeah, the Rams that year only had 2 losses. So they were definitely the favorites in that. The Eagles had 6. But the story of that game, I think, was Marshall Falk, 159 yards rushing, 2 touchdowns, and 24 yards receiving. So
I didn't.
Marshall Falk, almost 180 yards of total production. So, I mean, that was Marshall Falk back then.
Yeah.
That was Marshall Falk back then.
I'm still so bitter that she said Aeneas Williams. I mean, I hate that guy so much. Not as much as I hate
he's the Cardinal.
Same.
Not as much as I hate Lawrence Phillips, but I mean that guy put my favorite quarterback of all time out of commission forever. But
what was that play, G?
Weird. What's that?
What was that play? Aeneas Williams.
Lawrence Phillips misses the block on a blitzing Aeneas Williams, and he lays out Steve Young, and which sparks the Jeff Garcia era.
Okay.
But still, I just remember like
I didn't know that.
There.
Yeah.
See,
couldn't talk.
Division, so you played him a lot, but it was like a new experience for me. Like he was like legit, like not like Aeneas Williams at the time. He was like a nobody at the time.
Yeah.
He was playing against Freddie Mitchell, I'm pretty sure. And I was just like, so it's over? Like we can't do it? Okay.
Yep. Freddie Mitchell was on that.
So we've all had trauma from Aeneas Williams.
Yep. I feel you. So moving on, do you have a favorite memory being an Eagles fan? I mean, you guys have won a Super Bowl recently. You guys have had a couple good I see the Monday Night Massacre that I watched today, which was awesome. That was Vic versus McNabb when he went to Washington and they played each other. But is it the Super Bowl? Is it a draft pick? Is it a game you attended? It could be anything like that. Do you have a favorite memory?
There's no competition to the Super Bowl we played
exactly
that we won.
Yeah.
So if I have to answer anything besides the Super Bowl, I'll say that so that it's a different answer than the Super Bowl, but it's definitely the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But outside of that, the miracle at the Meadowlands when Deshaun Jackson returned the punt, or the kick, to win the game.
Yep.
Because it was absolutely insane. Like I've been pacing. So you heard earlier that like whatever's working, I just have to do that. Well, I had been pacing, so all I had to do was just keep pacing, and we won.
It worked.
A long time during that game. But
yeah.
Absolutely insane. It was so incredible to see them like rally and win. And like there was nothing that I had ever experienced like that before. Like even though there had been like the miracle at the Meadowlands like 2 times before that, like there was nothing in like that level of excitement because like I had been a little older. I think I was a teenager at the time.
Yeah.
Was, oh my God, like this is incredible.
Yeah, that was, I remember Deshaun Jackson. He was returning the punt. He actually fumbled it. Picked it back up, ran all the way, and it wasn't like up the side. He broke tackles through the middle of the whole defense.
He gets a block.
Yep. He and that block is now illegal because it's back short. It's an illegal block nowadays, but back
everything's illegal now.
Yeah, completely legal. And then he runs down the whole end zone.
And the time runs out.
Lets the time run out, which is just a smart football move. And he knows no one's going to catch him. But yeah, that was definitely a great play. One that I actually forgot about until now. But
it was very end of Reed's years in Philly. So it was like such a like mind-boggling thing. So we were like, oh, this might be the end of the Reed era in Philly. I think he had a couple seasons after that, but like I think only like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
But it was such a fun game because we were down so much. It was like Christmas week, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Lights on the graphics and everything, Christmas lights on the graphics, like they show the rerun of the game all the time. And it's still like I have no words for what they did to come back in that game. It was absolutely insane.
You're right. December 19th. Right before Christmas.
Yeah.
Right before Christmas.
Best gift ever.
That was that was a great play. And Andy Reid was there for 2 more years until Chip Kelly took over.
So for a 4-pack of the best Sonoma County beer, can you name the Giants punter?
Oh, I can't.
God. Oh my God. I should be able to name him.
I can't even think of a punter's name right now.
It's so funny because I can remember seeing Coughlin talk to him after, like, what the
what the fuck are you doing? Why did you punt to him?
Why would you kick it to him? I said, away from him.
The last name is of the car you mentioned earlier.
A car I named earlier? Oh, Durango? Dodge.
First name. I need a first name now. You got the last name.
Is his last name is Durango?
No, his last name is Dodge.
Dodge.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know hunters, unfortunately. I should know
Matt
that.
Dodge.
Matt Dodge. Who the hell
Matt
knows
Dodge.
Matt Dodge? Well,
I
he
think
probably.
I think a lot of Eagles fans know it. But
Yeah,
I
no.
never
You
never
just picked
cared
up-
to
you
know
just
his
picked up
name. I
late.
just knew he sucked.
I don't know if he played
Appreciated
another
him
game
sucking.
after that.
Did he have a career after that? Probably.
Probably
Who
not.
knows? I have no clue.
I hope not.
Let's talk a little bit about the Super Bowl, though. I mean, that was the revenge game. You guys beating the Patriots 33-41. In that game, Tom Brady had 500 yards passing, but he could not beat Nick Foles. Of course, the Philly special game and things like that. Do you remember where you were, who you were watching it with, emotions, all that stuff? Yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah. At the time, I lived in Atlanta.
Okay.
So like the whole like playoff run, I would go to this bar in Atlanta, but I didn't go to the bar for the Falcons game because my friend was going from Atlanta to Philly to watch the game in person. So I skipped going when they were playing the Falcons. So I watched the apartment and we almost lost. And I was like, hell no. Like we're going to the bar for the rest of the games.
Yeah.
So we went to the
Superstition.
the bar in Atlanta. It's called Rocky Mountain Pizza. It's crazy Eagles fans who own it. And it's in Midtown Atlanta, like near Georgia Tech campus.
There you go.
We went for the Vikings game, killed them, and we're like, can't not go for the Super Bowl. So then the bar doesn't open until 2:00 in the afternoon. The game wasn't until 6. And we got there at noon, like the day of the Super Bowl.
Wait in line.
And we were like 100 people in line. Like we were 100 people back.
Wow.
And so we got a table, but like barely. And so we were like kind of like near the bathroom area of the bar, which
Were you guys pre-gaming in line?
yeah, we were in line for the like bar at 12:00. The bar didn't open till 2. So we got in and we were like at a table like in the corner near the bathroom. So like we knew when there was like a line forming at the bathroom. And I really started to have to go like at the end of the game. And so I was watching the Brandon Graham strip sack Brady from the bathroom line, but like I could see the TV from where I was standing in line, and I was just like screaming my head off like we're gonna win the game. It was really fun.
Yeah.
It was.
I bet. I hope to experience that one day. But
I think you were pretty young when you guys won Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't remember that.
Yeah,
I was like,
I probably wouldn't have either.
Yeah, I was like 5 years old. But one unsung hero in that game, I think, is LeGarrette Blount, who is actually also getting a revenge on his previous team. LeGarrette
and Chris
Blount,
Long,
90 yards, a touchdown. You know, he was doing his thing too, and that he ended up getting 3 rings before he departed from the NFL. Which
were you rocking your underdog mask?
I didn't buy one. There was like a T-shirt that like Lane Johnson put out that was like an underdog shirt that like helps support like
the firefighters,
Philadelphia or something during the like Super Bowl run. I bought that one.
There you go.
That T-shirt, but I never got a mask.
I just remember you guys were rocking that whole persona like the underdogs, and I actually I didn't have a winner in that game. I was like, man, like I don't have a horse in the race. I don't really mind. I just want to see some good football, and definitely it's always fun to see the underdogs win, and I'm glad you guys did. That was awesome for sure.
Yeah, like I've always said to people who are fans of like sports teams, like that was the most fun I could possibly ever like create for one season of a football team. Like I know that there's teams that have multiple Super Bowls, like you are fans of teams that have multiple Super Bowls, so it's probably very biased of me to say like, well, if you just looked at 1 year of a team, like I would put our 1 year against anybody else's, because in the draft in Philly and then leading into the Super Bowl year, And then Brian Dawkins makes it into the Hall of Fame at the end.
Yeah.
Getting his freaking Super Bowl, like Hall of Fame, like ceremony, whole deal going on. It was like literally everything was a celebration in Philadelphia that whole year. And I would put it against anything else, even though there was a lot of drama. And there still is drama.
Yeah, but I mean, like Durant said, I mean, for me, I've been to 2 Super Bowls. I mean, not me personally, but my team has. We've lost both of them. It's unfortunate. I mean, I can't wait to have the feeling of like, man, me remembering actually the feeling of winning the Super Bowl. So can't wait. I feel like we're on the cusp, but definitely shout out to y'all for doing the
it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth it. I think a lot of fans sell their self short by like bandwagon fans, because it's like about the long game in the like there's nothing that's going to make you feel the joy, the like complete craziness of emotions that you go through like after waiting all that time to finally see it happen and like really realize that it's happening, quite like a Super Bowl win like the Eagles did for me.
Yeah, just wait till, I mean, we saw the Chicago Cubs win after years and years and how their city felt.
That parade was insane.
Exactly. And then we got the Bills, who have lost 4 straight Super Bowls. Just wait till they, win one. It's going to happen one day. And yeah, the wait pays off, man. That excitement and everything that you feel, just,
there's like an angst a little bit for like the people who like don't have a Super Bowl win. Like I think the Lions fan you talked to before.
Yeah.
It's just like there's this like complete like frustration that you can't break out of until it happens.
Yep.
And so like the no rings jokes and all of that stuff is so frustrating. You can't possibly imagine having to go through that. Like even if your team has won a Super Bowl before, like you've never experienced it, like the Redskins and Washington football team like has several rings, but like most fans have never experienced it for themselves. You don't have to deal with the rings jokes and like all of that stuff that like many people like me had to go through like the majority of our like adult like fandom. So it is something, it's like a huge like weight off your shoulders. It's incredible.
Absolutely. One thing about like that Lions fan that we talked to, I mean, Jacksonville, there's Texans, there's
shout out to Nick.
Yeah, shout out to Nick. There's teams, I kind of feel like they come into every year without expectations. I mean, they kind of relish in we're not going to win. So we're here. We're going to be fans no matter what. And I think it does pay off. Eventually it does pay off.
Yeah, we were the last in the NFC East the year before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Like Carson Wentz was a rookie that year. He was a rookie head coach and we didn't play very well. We didn't have a season. And then you have another year under your belt as a sophomore head coach and sophomore quarterback, and everything started clicking. We brought some really fantastic free agents. And, some of our draft picks like made plays, and that was the story for us. Like it can quickly turn. Like I know people say NFL is not for long, so it's very true. Like from my experience.
Definitely. Well, we all know not every season is a Miracle at Meadowlands. Not every season is the Super Bowl. Do you have a worst memory being a Philadelphia Eagles fan? You do have the Super Bowl loss. You do have Chip Kelly destroying your team.
Yeah.
A player injury, anything like that you could think of?
I mean, it's so hard to answer because it's like there are so many things that like break your heart over the years of being a fan. So I don't know if there's anything that was like the most heartbreaking, but the year that we It was 2018, actually. Like, if you get to a Super Bowl and you win it, like, you just, like, expect to be great again and, like, go back and do it again and, like, hopefully have a shot again. So I guess the most recent heartbreak was when we went to New Orleans and we played in the playoff game following year after the Super Bowl, and Alshon fumbled, like, on the drive down to potentially win the game. It always feels like that, you know, like we always in it and then we lose. So those losses are the ones that hurt the most, because you're like, we have a chance, and they always give you some hope. Like, they're always in it, but to, like, break your heart, you know?
Yeah, so, I could see that being a tough game. I mean, you guys scored in that game 14 points in the first quarter.
Yeah, we were, like, in it, and we were killing it, and then we just flat.
It was 14-0, but unfortunately didn't score another point for the rest of the game. And Saints ended up winning 20-14.
And then they went on to lose to the Rams with that notorious PI non-call.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
So I was like, damn, like, we always beat the
no PI.
Gone on to beat the Rams, gone back to the Super Bowl, played against the Patriots again. That would have been so cool, but hypotheticals don't get you anywhere. So
exactly.
It, you know, it's just like a bittersweet, like, oh, we could have gone back again. But to be honest, there's plenty of answers I could have given for that question, because there's plenty of times the Eagles have truly ripped my heart out. Yeah,
I believe it. One that I do remember, and I don't know if it's just because it might have been like a Monday or a Sunday night. Jason Peters, we know he's a Hall of Famer, all-time great Eagle tackle. He got hurt one game where his knee, someone just rolled up on his knee. And as he got up, everyone knew it was bad. He was on the ground. And I mean, this guy is, you know, the leader of the offensive line. But I remember all the players coming out and kind of sending him off in a way where everyone knew it was kind of, damn it, that's Jason Peters. He's going off for the rest of the season. That was a sad one.
He got injured, and then Wentz got injured that year. And I was just fuck, like, this was such a special season, and we're going to lose? Like, we're going to not win? And, like, I'm going to have to live on, like, what ifs for the rest of my life? And thankfully, we still won the Super Bowl. But, like, those are the, like, those injuries were, like, brutal. Every game there was, like, something that happened, and, like, somehow we still overcame it, and, like, the next guy up really showed up to, like, win the games, or, you know, the defense showed up when the offense didn't show up, the offense showed up when the defense didn't show up. Truly a special team for that whole year.
Worked out perfect for you guys. Absolutely perfect. Every game I counted you guys out and did.
And we were killing teams.
Yeah. Every game they showed
up. We
killed the
49ers. I'm sorry about that.
I know.
I know. There you go.
Not as bad as we killed the Broncos.
Oh,
That was a 50 burger.
Yeah.
Definitely seeing that year with all those injuries. Like, it kind of gave me hope for this year with my Niners, but the injury just kept on stacking and stacking and stacking. But you guys
at some point it doesn't compute. Like, you just can't compete at that point.
Yeah. That's when you start looking towards the draft.
It broke my heart.
It's such a bummer when you go from, like, excited about the playoffs to, like, all right, what pick do we have in the draft?
Exactly. Just lose out these last three and let's get a draft pick.
When Durant said when he mentioned when Peter just got hurt, it was when seeing everybody, like, when you see everybody like, hey man, best of luck, thank you for everything.
When he's on the cart,
you're just like, okay, it's over. As soon as the cart comes, as soon as they do this, that means come get the cart, and that's what, like, breaks your heart. Like, damn it, like, he's done.
And like the whole crowd was screering Jason Peters, just chanting.
Yeah, and it's a guy like Jason
does
Peters
that for the left tackle, but, like, in Philly.
That's the glue of not the line, not the offense, but, like, the team, because he keeps your quarterback safe. He's the bodyguard for your quarterback. And I was just like, oh, God.
Love it. We could talk about Jason Peters forever. I looked at a lot of his shit earlier today.
I love him.
Him being a tight end, him doing everything. It's amazing. Look up Jason Peters. But let's move on a little bit. We're finally to your future expectations. Going into this year's draft, you guys have the 6th overall pick, 3 in the top 100. Is there a positional group or even a player that you think you can get? I mean, if you write down your top 6 players, your guy's going to be there. You guys can go wide receiver here. We have a Heisman Trophy winner that just a wide receiver that just won that, edge rusher, anything like that. What can you think of?
Well, it's an interesting question at this current moment because we currently are in the midst of potentially trading our quarterback.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
At 6, like most people would say, well, if you are trading your quarterback, wouldn't you take a quarterback? And I would say no. Because I think Jalen Hurts has potential, and he could be a good quarterback if he brought in a decent backup, whoever that might be. I don't know. But
Sudfeld?
I would love, Sudfeld,
no. Yeah.
No. I mean,
I do have a question. Now that we're on the quarterback, before you answer the who you're going for, do you still think that Wentz can do it? Because to me, he hasn't really had the weapons that he needs the last couple years. I mean, we've seen him be really good before, and I just think, I've seen this guy be good before. If you give him a number 1 receiver, you have Rager there, maybe bring back Sanders, stuff like that, Ertz, and both of the time. Maybe things are a little bit different, or do you feel more comfortable letting him go and rolling with it? No.
I'm not comfortable to letting him go.
Yeah,
but it's gotten to the point where it's inevitable. Like, he's not happy here, and our front office has made the mistakes to make him unhappy enough that he wants out. He hasn't technically demanded a trade, but every report that has come out basically suggests that like he's not coming back here. So there's no real chance to say, oh, we can make it right. Like, I would have been very happy to be like, oh, we can make it right and we can support him and give him the pieces to do what he needs to do. But the unfortunate thing is that somebody else is going to get a discount on a franchise quarterback, in my opinion, because not being valued in the trade market because his 2020 season was not good. But a lot of that was the offensive line was at a historical like changeover rate, and he really didn't have a lot of healthy players. I think going into the season, Alshon Jeffrey was injured and on the active roster for 8 weeks before he played. So you've got one less wide receiver available for the team. And then you've got a bunch of these really young players who are supposed to make the play for him. And injuries across the board were just outstanding. And it's just hard to make a real impact when the offensive play calling wasn't great. Like going for it on 4th down, like Peterson does that. I love Peterson to death, but I hated some of his decision making over the course of time. I really didn't like some of his decision making when it came to 4th down play calling or going for it in general or not kicking a field goal. You know, there's certain things that he could have done to help Wentz that didn't happen. And so I don't think that Peterson being fired was to make Wentz happy. But I think that they thought a fresh start because you were benched during the season. Let's try to get you some new minds in here, some new play calling. So in Sirianni, and that still didn't satisfy him. So to answer your question in a very long way, I think that a team is going to get a franchise quarterback at a discounted rate, and I'm going to be sad to see him go. I won't root for him to fail, but I'm definitely not going to be happy if I see him succeeding elsewhere because it could have been us if we just handled it correctly.
Yeah, not only did he not have Alshon Jeffrey, Deshaun Jackson was hurt. And he's relying on guys like Greg Ward, who were brought up from practice squad, former quarterback, you know.
Right.
These weapons and stuff that he had were next to none. But back to the draft, 6th overall pick. It sounds like you don't really want to go quarterback there.
No.
Where would you like to go?
Quarterback, because I think we're on the cycle of not committing to a quarterback, and it was wrong of us to continue that cycle by giving Jalen Hurts a fair shake, especially in a year when it pretty much feels like we're going to suck next year because the situation's terrible. We're going to have to cut a lot of veterans. So if you're going to give anybody a fair shot, it would be him. So if we're going to suck, then we're probably going to have a high first-round pick next year anyway. That if Jalen Hurts doesn't seem to be the guy, you can get a quarterback next year.
Yeah.
So that's my thought process on that. But I would love to give him some weapons. Chase is obviously a top wide receiver. We tend to not want LSU wide receivers when we have the chance. So I'm not going to hold my breath on that one. But yeah, I would like to see us go for either Pitts, tight end, who a lot of people are like, I don't want to take a tight end. It's like, you see what he can do on the field. That's
a mismatch for sure.
It's not just tight ends. Like, stop putting him into like the positional thought process. It's about,
I mean, look at Las Vegas Raiders with how they used Waller. That's how Pitts is going to be used, and him in that Philly offense, that'd be nasty. I feel like that would
if you
make
have him with
happy.
Dallas, I mean, that's a good tandem, and we're definitely going to end up trading or cutting Ertz, which will break my heart, but it's not at this point. So if you're going to replace him with a starter like Pitts, like that would be a great fit for us. Or, Devontae Smith is obviously pretty incredible on the field for, his career in college. It's pretty undeniable how good he's been. My concern about him is his size, because I think that it's unusual to take somebody his size in the top 10. We saw John Ross and other smaller guys go a little early on, and they didn't have as much of an impact. I'm not saying that he's close to what John Ross is as a prospect, but I think that there is a chance that we would potentially skip over him to get like a cornerback to pair with Slay. Like Farley would probably be my pick over Surtain. I think a lot of people like him just because I think Farley matches the type of defense that we would want to run, with Gannon coming in from the Colts. Very aggressive, and he's kind of a raw prospect, but I think he would be very, very good. And we really need a really good DB, like so badly. Never been good at drafting DBs. And if it takes taking one in the top 10, I'm not mad about it.
G, anything else about drafting guys? I got a list of contracts and stuff coming up.
Yeah, I mean, I know, Kelly, I know you said something about, people getting a discounted quarterback. I mean, maybe when it comes to trade, but that's a hefty contract to take on for sure. I think he's at the cap hit for like this year is somewhere around like 35 mil.
We're taking the dead cap for 34 million.
I do want to say it sounds like he wants out, and that's the type of thing where a player could volunteer to restructure his contract to move. So to me, if it's a straight up what he has now, but if he really wants out, he could take a couple million off of that and kind of restructure it to make it more team friendly. Yeah,
so you brought up a good point, but like the fact that he is going to be such a big cap hit to the Eagles means that the front office is going to try to get more than they're probably warranted to ask for, and that certainly seems to be what's playing out right now as we wait to find out where he's going to go. Like, if you're going to take a 34 million cap hit on a quarterback that's not going to be on the team anymore,
tough.
Like, you've got to make it make sense. Like,
that's tough.
So this is where I think conditional draft picks make the most sense. Is okay if he performs for you, make a 3rd round pick, be a 2nd round pick or something. Because like you've got to be able to prove like I think he's going to be good for you.
Yeah.
And it makes sense for both teams in that aspect. If I get my franchise quarterback, I'll give you a little bit more for him. And it's kind of a prove it type of trade transaction. And those are the types of situations where negotiations need to really be focused, and potentially if draft picks aren't what's working, you've got to start working in some players and make it a package deal to ultimately satisfy everybody who's involved.
Yeah, it's the whole Stafford thing that just happened with Goff.
Yeah.
But I keep saying it. I'd love for Pittsburgh get rid of Big Ben, bring in Wentz. I think that'd be a good move for them.
Yeah, I know when he came to the draft, I know you said probably not drafting Smith that high, and I know you've referenced
trade back.
I know you referenced Ross, but honestly, when comparing Ross to Smith,
they're not the same.
They're definitely not the same. I mean, Ross, he needs to be utilized in a certain offense. You guys have Rager right now, which is a gadget player. That's great.
He also wasn't used as well as he could have been all of last year.
Exactly.
So, Rager, we haven't seen the best of him. So I'm excited. I think if you had a tandem of wide receivers with Rager, and I don't think that he's like a lost cause. Like a lot of people will like write him off. I still believe that he can be a great wide receiver.
Yeah, he was one of my favorites last year.
Rager in the mock drafts for sure. I gave you guys either Smith or Waddle, one of the Alabama receivers. I feel like you guys needed the most. I mean, you guys swung and you guys missed hard with Ostego right side. I mean, honestly, I did too. I thought he was going to be a beast, and he comes into the league and he's a little bit soft. I mean, you guys took him.
It's again like almost like I feel like our coaching staff was not developing players well. Like truly, I don't think that JJ Arcega-Whiteside is a total bust. I think he could be a contributor to any offense if you really gave him a shot.
He's a good
BK Metcalf at all, but like
he's a good receiver 4-3 maybe. I mean, other than that,
maybe down the line.
Ward definitely outplayed him. Fulgham outplayed him for sure. And Fulgham's like what, a 7th-round draft pick out of Old Dominion, and this guy's coming from the Pac-12 who's seen top-rated DBs. I mean, come on. Like,
this is the thing, though. If we're really going to commit to Jalen Hurts, it does not hurt to give him Smith or Waddle. Like, they both played with him at Alabama. We have plenty of tape to prove that they can work together.
Wow.
So if we're going to commit to the Hurts situation, I am totally on board with them saying, you know what? We're giving him a guy we know he has chemistry with.
Yeah, and Smith all day.
And if they give Hurts that benefit of the doubt, it proves that they learned something from the Wentz situation, because they burned a bridge with Wentz by drafting Hurts last year in the second. There's no question in my mind that Wentz was completely put off by that decision.
Yep.
So if they're going to extend an olive branch to the quarterback of the future of this team, that would be a move that I would totally support and be happy with.
Definitely give him a weapon for sure for that quarterback, because you guys' front four is scary. I mean, it's all led by Fletcher Cox, who's a fucking monster, man. That guy.
He's like underrated in my mind. Like everybody always talks about
underrated. Oh my god.
Yeah, I think he's so underrated, and
he is a
the
monster.
Death out of him. I know, but like people really don't talk about him when like they talk about pass rushers. They're like Aaron Donald and Khalil Mack. Like he's like the 4th or 5th person. I'm like he could be as good as other players. But he's always double teamed. Like you just never has the talent to support how good he can be.
I blame Aaron Donald for that. Aaron Donald is just so
he
good.
He just like raises the bar to like a new level.
Yeah, it's like when Steph Curry's hitting all the threes, no one else gets credit for it, and it's like he would, if Aaron Donald wasn't in the league, he'd be the dude. Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, moving on to a couple contracts that are coming up, maybe some guys that are about to retire.
You're going to make me sad? Okay.
Yeah, Jason Peters, 38 years old, contract's up, and he's, he could be contemplating retirement. Corey Clement, Boston Scott, Greg Ward, 3 offensive players that contracts are due. Is there any one of those guys that you would prioritize bringing back?
It is going to be such a tumultuous offseason for the Eagles. You're going to have so many players being cut and traded over the course of the next few months. It's going to be absolutely insane. And you're going to be like, do they have anybody on the roster anymore? heard it here first. Okay. So like we're way over the cap right now. If you look,
Oof, yeah, that's gonna suck.
So over the cap, which makes trading Wentz even more crazy. But like they put themselves in this position, so here we are. I would bring back Jalen Mills. He is transitioning into a safety role. I don't think he's.
Oh, is he?
Excellent.
Okay.
He moved from cornerback to safety.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Last year.
I think if you guys kick him into the slot, he might be a little bit better because he's kept up with those speed receivers.
Yeah, he's bit on a couple of big plays and been in a lot of
he's not
aspects,
an outside corner,
but he's been serviceable in the new role that he had. But again, it really matters only if the new coaching staff thinks he fits their scheme.
Yeah, that's true.
Jim Schwartz on defense.
Yep.
He's gone. We had a whole different offensive scheme for our team. So it's really hard to know like who they want, how they're going to use them, all that stuff. So it's hard for me to answer that, to be quite honest.
The guys that I mentioned were only offensive players. The defensive players coming up, Jalen Mills, you already said, Nico Roby-Coleman, Vinny Curry, Hassan Ridgeway, who I can't believe his rookie deal is already done.
So
and
good.
The underdog, Nate Geary.
Oh, no.
Also there. So
Nate Geary is like, if you say Nate Geary to an Eagles fan, you will trigger them immediately. They will be like, hate that guy.
No, I know Nate Geary. He transformed into that linebacker role. He transformed into that linebacker role. I remember seeing him in college.
He was a safety in college, and he became a linebacker in the new era. It's like, it's not fair to guys because you had Malcolm Jenkins and then you let him walk and then put Nate Geary in there. Anyway.
That was a tough one.
So
that was a tough one.
I have a lot of feelings about it.
So I think you said it, Jalen Mills.
Yeah, I think Ridgeway will definitely be back if we can make the contract work. But it's hard to know. Like, I don't really, I assume that it's going to be a lot like what the Colts had going on because he was with the Colts beforehand. But we're basically going to be the Philadelphia Colts at this point, our coaching staff. So who knows?
Yep. Speaking of the Colts, let's move into your new head coach, Nick Sirianni, former Colts OC. I mean, I think he was being billed as bringing him in to kind of get Wentz back on track. I think that's what it was at the beginning. I don't know if that's how it still is now.
A lot of people thought.
Yeah. I mean, do you think he could do it? Do you think that's the plan? I don't know much about this guy, so you got to kind of run with the ball on this one.
So Nick Sirianni had 16 years in the NFL before becoming a head coach, but at various different teams and various different positions. But the thing that sets him apart and that I'm most excited and intrigued about is the fact that he used to be a wide receiver when he was in college. So comes at the game from a wide receiver perspective. And I think that that's what we so desperately need. We need game planning for what will put our players at a skills position at an advantage versus the defense we're facing versus Peterson's mindset for a quarterback. Like, he didn't have anything outside of his own experience as a quarterback. So he had limitations to what his play calling could be. I think Frank Reich, as the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts, used to be the OC for the Eagles, really helped to guide Nick Sirianni in his time with Indy. So I really am excited that he had experience learning from him, because I think a lot of Frank Reich's play calling during the 2017 season, he was game planning for the weeks ahead. And Doug was calling the plays, no doubt. But game plan was really set up by Frank Reich. So if we really look at what was special about that team, was they had the right staff for the job. And so you saw what Justin Herbert did in his rookie year with the Chargers. We're getting their OC into Philly for the OC position here. And if it's Wentz, if it's Hurts, it's like we're almost setting them up to succeed. If there's anything that he can bring from his experience of teaching Justin Herbert, coming from college, changing him to an NFL quarterback style, that is something that's exciting. So Nick Sirianni, quality control coach in Kansas City starting out, moved his way up to wide receiver, quarterback coach, then offensive coordinator for the Indianapolis Colts. There's a lot to work with there. It's kind of raw. It's kind of new. Had a terrible press conference when he showed up, but I think that comes with being pretty fresh and inexperienced. And
yeah,
Philadelphia, the media is so intense. Like there's nothing. I know like New York and LA can probably say like we're like really intense markets, but nothing quite like Philadelphia's market.
Yeah.
You've got so many people coming at you, and the fan base is really intense. So I don't blame him for having a little bit of a nervousness coming into that environment, but he'll settle in. He'll, get comfortable once he's in the locker room talking to the guys, and we'll see where it goes from here.
Definitely. I mean, Sirianni, I know he spent some time in the AFC West. I know he was with the Chiefs, and then he went on with the Chargers. He was wide receivers coach and quarterbacks
he helped
coach
Keenan
there.
Allen get to his first Pro Bowl.
Definitely. I mean, that's definitely, something to hang your hat on for sure. When he comes to this press conference, it was definitely a weird one, especially if you're seeing like Motor City Dan in that press conference going for 2 hours.
Weird.
How crazy that one was. But I think he's okay. I mean, we all saw Gase's conference when, he was with he had those crazy beady eyes going on.
That reminded me of Chip Kelly. Like, oh God, this is not a good experience.
Yeah, Sirianni, his opening press conference, you can tell he was super nervous. He spent most of his times, as a positions coach, and a quality
and
control
he's young.
coach. Yeah, and so when he's coming over, spending 2 years with the Colts, pretty much letting Philip Rivers run that offense and kind of guide him in a way because he's super comfortable with Philip Rivers. And, we'll see how it goes. Honestly,
he went from Andrew Luck to Jacoby Brissett to Philip Rivers. So he's got experience with multiple quarterbacks, but it's easier when you've got like a Hall of Fame quarterback throwing for your offense. But he has experience with different quarterbacks.
Yeah, I saw a stat too. Those were all top 10 offenses under him. Yeah. So he took all those quarterbacks.
And we'll largely say that was Frank Reich, but he is involved with helping that.
You got it. G, I got one more question. You got anything else for Kelly?
Fire it away, brother.
Okay, last question has nothing to do with any of the past stuff. The NFC East has not had a repeat winner in 17 years. You guys won it last year, which means it's impossible for you guys to win it next year. Who do you think's going to take it?
Well, the football
team
won it this year.
Oh, I thought Philly did.
No, that's when they had their Hall of Famer Heineke.
We lost to the football team.
Okay.
And the Giants didn't make the playoffs. Remember?
Okay, my bad.
So it's a good question. I really do think that the football team is very well coached, and that could potentially repeat.
Love their coach.
If they had a decent quarterback, I don't know what will happen with the new guy that they signed to it. He played one game and got like $4 or $5 million a season. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know, but
I was just trying to get you to say Dallas Cowboys.
Never think they're gonna win. I hope they lose all the time.
Oh, I'll just sit back and watch this one.
He probably feels that way about the Eagles too.
I do. Yep.
The the Giants are just such a weird team to me because they're still trying to make Daniel Jones a thing, and I don't believe in him at all. But that's just me being an Eagles fan. So it's really, I think that the most likely of all scenarios is the fact that we have the worst schedule of the 4 teams is maybe just win again.
There you go.
Jalen Hurts is the truth. You never know.
We'll see about that. I mean, Kelly, thank you so much. I loved your knowledge. I loved all your fandom and information that you brought here. You really you set the standard for the next Eagles fan when they come on here. So thank you very much.
I'll pray for them.
Tell us again what you're drinking. I forget what you were drinking.
This is a Nugget Nectar.
Nugget Nectar.
Trogs is based in I think Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. I don't know.
Yep.
Where's this from? Anyway, it's delicious.
Nice. And tell us where they can find you on social media, your podcast, anything like that.
So the Kelly Green Show is on the Eagles Brawl podcast, and my Twitter account is @football_Kelly.
I love
we'll
it.
Put all the links below for sure, so
Yeah.
you guys can follow her. I'm definitely gonna smash that follow button right now for sure because her football knowledge is awesome. Love connecting with fellow football fans. I mean, I don't care if you're a Philly fan, a Cowboy fan. I don't care. If you're a fan of football, you're my type of people, and that's something that I love for sure. If you want to stick with us a little bit after air, that'd be awesome. I know it's late on the Eastern Standard Time for sure.
It is.
We appreciate your time so much. Randy, anything else to say?
That's it. That's it for me.
Go Birds.
Awesome. Awesome, man. Yeah.
Have a good one.
How to sneak it in there.
There you go.
You know, for sure, sneak it in there. Look at Duran's background for sure. Follow us, Why We're Fans, on YouTube and on Twitter. We'll put up this episode very soon. Thank you very much. Signing off as always. Later.
Peace.